Welcome to Spark Starter, the podcast dedicated to sharing stories that ignite female entrepreneurs into action. I'm your host, Elizabeth Goede, and I'm here to fan the flame of your entrepreneurial spirit. Each week, we bring to you the inspiring stories of women trailblazers from around the world who have sparked change in their industries, powered their ideas into thriving businesses, and pioneered their way to success. So, whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur, a startup enthusiast, or a seasoned business leader, join us as we delve into the journeys of these incredible women whose tales will surely ignite the spark in each one of us. My guest today is Alicia Farricielli, a true Renaissance woman of business, having built thriving companies across the marketing, real estate, corporate events, and coaching industries over her impressive 20-year career in business, and now adding founder to her resume. But Alicia is not just a serial entrepreneur. She's the beacon of inspiration for women seeking to embrace their intuition, transcend limitations, and create lives of purpose, balance, and limitless power potential. As a certified life coach and intuition mentor, Alicia is on a mission to guide women in transforming their lives from trusting their inner wisdom and nurturing all aspects of themselves. Her own journey of overcoming challenges, breaking through barriers, and achieving harmony while scaling multiple businesses empowers her to lead others on a path of personal and professional empowerment. Today, Alicia will pull back the curtain on her entrepreneurial journey, sharing hard-won insights and inspiration to help you harness your unique gifts, push past doubts and fears, and boldly bring your vision to life. Alicia, I'm so excited to have you here today. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
So, Alicia, just reading your sort of introduction, what an incredible background do you have? Over 20 years, you have spanned a very diverse set of different business ventures. And I was hoping you could actually take us back to the very first one. So, what was the first company you actually started?
Oh, my goodness. So I went to school with a passion of when I was of going and being working for a New York advertising agency, being just this bad ass woman and walking New York. I was like, okay, cool. We'll end up having children in the middle of that. So that didn't happen. And so I was like, always want to go into marketing. So after a couple of sales and marketing jobs, I decided, you know what, I can do this myself. So I started, I think I was like age 25 maybe or 26, and I did start a marketing company having no idea what I was doing. Imagine how that went. No mentor, nothing, but I did give myself credit for that. So I did that for a few years, went back into sales, went back into marketing, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to give this a shot again. So I quit my corporate job and went into, this is when social media was starting to become really popular.
Sure.
I had no social media training whatsoever, but I did have a couple of clients. Unfortunately, it was not, they didn't see the value of it at the time. I think I was a little bit too new to it. So I ended up I moved back in with my parents and then I go back to the corporate world, ended up back in Nashville, Tennessee. Once I did that, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so you were in New York. You first started in the agency. Sorry?
I never made it to New York. that was my dream.
New York. I see. Okay. All right. Okay. So you decided, listen, I can do this. I can start a marketing agency, and you decided to take this leap of faith into doing it. And I am a firm believer that we learn from every single thing we've ever done, whether it was a success or a failure, or maybe an opportunity area for more opportunity if we're being more positive about it. And so as you're going through and you're sort of starting businesses and exiting them for reasons, I mean, everybody needs money to be able to live. What would you say has been sort of that piece that maybe you've taken through you with all these businesses that helped you get to a point? Like, where was the business that you found the first business that you found the most success with?
That would be my event business, it's corporate events. So I started off in Nashville doing bachelorette parties and
Okay,
decided that was absolutely not my forte at all. Tons of them coming in, but it was just not like it was too emotionally draining for me. So
sure.
then I started getting into I had an apartment community in Nashville contact me to do their social events. I was like, absolutely.
Okay,
So I built a company. I think I had 20 something clients on 1 month. And so we had like 2 to 3 events going on every single day, building that out. And I had a team of, I call them event coordinators that would come help me out, bartenders, everything. And so we would put on these like elaborate pool parties. We did like a doggy pool party. We did all kinds of cool stuff. Whiskey tastings to fitness stuff to whatever creative
sure.
idea that just kind of flowed to me. And that, of course, the managers agreed to do. So yeah, we were super busy doing that. So that was probably the
And so
first like
sorry, I was just going to ask, do you have a team? Did you have a team supporting you? I mean, events are there's a lot of details that go into events for anyone that's never worked in that space. So did you have a team that supported you?
I did. And the funny thing was I had the only event experience I had was from doing nonprofit, helping out on nonprofit boards and doing birthday parties for my kids. I had no event experience whatsoever. I mean, attending tons of events and networking. And I was trying to break into that industry and I couldn't find a job. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it myself. And so that's how that got started. And I saw the need with the bachelorette party. I did it myself for probably the first 6 months or so, and then started hiring on people to help me run the events. They're all independent contractors. So that worked out really, really well for that. I think I had like 15 to 16 of them, and they would rotate out schedules. Then I hired on bartenders because I was more comfortable with having somebody that was licensed bartender. And
Mhm.
then I hired on a couple of people. I hired on a couple of managers. Unfortunately, that didn't work out so well because I was not good at hiring. I was hiring friends instead of hiring qualified people. And so then I added on a marketing person, like part-time. All these were
Mhm.
independent contractors. I had no full employees. So I didn't have
Sure.
to, I mean, I wasn't making enough income at the time to actually pay out employees. That was the goal, but yeah.
It's interesting that you talk about that because I think a lot of people think that you have to actually hire an employee. Now, with the latest in hiring VAs and things like that, I think people are getting more open to it, but it's hiring contractors is actually a really viable way to help scale your business when you don't have enough consistent revenue to support having an actual full-time staff.
Absolutely. And they were only working, I mean, probably 15 hours a month. So they would rotate out the schedules and they were always able to choose the shifts that they wanted to do. So it
Yeah,
worked out
that's
really well for them too, instead of being like, you have to be at this time, this location. Because I mean, they all had full time. Most of them had full time jobs, or you're a stay home mom, or they had other responsibilities. Which, by the way, stay home mom is a full time job. But
1000%.
yes, so I'm not discrediting that at all. um, so it worked out really well for that. And then of course the marketing person was hired. It was a VA. She was actually from the US. She did an absolutely wonderful job. And then I hired one of the event coordinators who wanted a few more hours. So I hired her out to be my assistant. And that worked out really well.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so I feel like you skipped over one piece. You went into events because you had experience, you were trying to break into that industry. But I did you pepper in a little bit there about how you didn't actually like it? You didn't
The
actually
events.
love doing events?
So I loved it at the very beginning. And it's not that I don't love events. So I do events now through retreats. But
Okay.
I was so burnt out. I was working 80 hours a week and my profit level was so low. And then I was having to beg my clients to pay on time, and I was forking out tens of thousands of dollars every single month. That led to burnout. There's so many things I would have did differently now. I don't ever want to go back into event business again, but anybody else that wanted to, I can tell them what to do and what not to do. But I think I grew way too fast for what I could handle. And I was honestly an emotionally unstable, not stable. I was in a not a good emotional state of mind at the time after going through that burnout, that I just really needed to let it go. So I worked my way out of that and into real estate.
It's an interesting piece that you also just mentioned, which is just the amount of expense that you personally carried. And I think that, it's something we talk a lot about on this podcast, which is, sort of, there is no business you can start that's free. Right. I mean, there are certainly businesses that you start that have a lower amount of output, but there is no business that you start for free. And I think that it would be a common misconception for people to think that an events business would, in essence, be a very low cost business to start. But I'm sure that I could very quickly get you to give me 20 points of like the things that you wouldn't have even expected cost a lot of money, but do.
Yeah,
So
gas,
from
time, and I mean, to name the two.
right. Yeah,
Small things you don't
absolutely.
think about.
Well, and even just support staff, right? I mean, there's a lot
Yeah.
of cost that goes into that. There's all the supplies, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so you're working the events business, you're working 80 hours a week, probably even more if you're really realistic about it. And you reach a point of sheer burnout and you decide to exit that business. When you exited that business, were you able to sort of sell any of it to somebody else to do the events, or was there any did you how did you actually exit?
Well, in order to make my tax bracket lower, I expense a lot of stuff that if I was looking to sell, I mean, legally expense it. I'm not saying I didn't. Like,
Yeah.
I would have made the look like there was much more profit into it, but I didn't care to
Mhm.
sell it at the time. I was done. And so I literally let go. I don't say some of my clients I fired, but I really kind of let go, except for 2 clients the last year that I did it. That kept it flowing. I kept two employee or 2 contractors with me, and then we did the rest of it. And then I got my real estate license. And so for the 6 months, I ramped up my real estate license, ramped up and stopped that business and I was enough capital to be able to close it down. I closed it down December 2019, right before COVID hit.
Oh, sure.
Didn't know
That was
COVID was
probably
coming. Yeah. So it was
yeah,
like a
that
blessing in disguise. And it's almost go back into intuition. It's almost an intuitive thing, me telling me that you need to find something else to do.
yeah, absolutely. So even real estate during COVID was a tricky proposition. So how did you navigate through real estate and then end up in sort of your coaching business that you have now?
Yeah, great question. So my he's a husband at now. I was my boyfriend at the time. He was really doing great in real estate. I was like, this looks like something fun I would enjoy to do. I'm just going to give it a shot and go kind of fly by my seat of my pants. And I ended up loving it in Tennessee when I would live there. And so I did that for 3 years there, and then for 4 years total real estate. And then we were transitioning into Florida, so I got my Florida license. And I found the market to be a little more not to my what I enjoyed. Let's put it that way.
Sure,
Um,
sure.
so that's kind of how I got into real estate. It's funny because I actually back like 15 years prior to that, I was in Huntsville, Alabama at the time. I was like, I think I want to get my real estate license. But that limiting belief inside of me was I can't work on just commission. I will
Sure.
never make it. So I just nixed that. I wish I would have went ahead and did that because I would have had a thriving business and not even known it. Yeah.
Well, so let's talk about that limiting belief and in how you actually have gotten into your coaching business that certainly has, an intuitive element to it. So you make a move and you end up in Florida. You decide, gosh, this really isn't either the type of product or the type of person that I was used to servicing you, and you decide to make a change. So how did you bridge that gap between having a marketing and events background and real estate into actually going onto the coaching side, because you became a certified coach?
Yes. So all in the back of my mind, all these years, I knew I wanted to become like a business mentor or a business coach. But I thought I needed to build these massive companies and massive things to do, or I didn't know what I was doing. So it hit me one day and I was like, Alicia, that's just BS. I was like, you have built these companies, they have been profitable. You have a lot of experience. You can really help someone. So I went down the little path, and I knew I was wanting to exit the Florida real estate market. And so after like I got married, I was like, this is what I want to do. And it just hit me. I hired a coach on who was fabulous. She did like for 90 days, and she did probably 17 years worth of therapy and energy work on me. That within those 90 days, she was fabulous. And so she helped me kind of ramp up and get to going what I wanted to do. And I thought, you know what? I do want to work with business owners, but I also know there's so much more to that. And so in order to start the business, I knew where I had failed. I didn't have the right mindset. And so I need to start working with people and getting their mindset around. And I mean, now I work with entrepreneurs, and then I work with people who are 9-to-5 jobs,
Sure.
I call it nine to five, or if you want to call it that way. I don't have a preference, but everybody needs, I'm just here to heal. So after I went through the process of that, got certified, do my certifications in multiple different areas, became a Reiki master, breathwork certified, meditation teacher certified, and fell in love. Like I thought this is exactly where I need to be, and like just found my zone. Then I started digging into my intuition, started doing a lot of intuitive work, which ties in with all the things I was doing, and just fell in love with meditation. And I love teaching people how to change their life through all that, and just listening to their self.
Yeah. That's it's really interesting to hear sort of your journey, your path, your struggles that you have been through, and then sort of to find that perfect place. I always tell people you're never going to be able to build a big business if you don't love what you do, because it's way too hard. Unless you're sort of like a serial entrepreneur that has the 3 to 5 year exit plan. That's a little bit different story. But and so when you sort of, look at being able to service, people at all different areas, whether they're in a 9-to-5 and maybe either looking to start something new, or just to get, I'm assuming that you're also coaching them just in helping round out and live a better life, even with that position. Is that accurate?
Yes, absolutely. I work with business owners who have 20 years in the business. They just need switches, and that's where more of the life coaching comes in. I help people ramp up their business if they need to. I can do that great. But I really focus on the mindset and getting their mind, body, spirit, everything connected.
Yeah,
so that they can thrive in their business.
Yeah, such a huge need too. Absolutely. So, Alicia, when you look at, I mean, it's so interesting with the very diverse background that you've had, and I feel like these questions that I'm going to ask can have a very wide range of probably response. What would you say has been the most difficult thing about having your own business?
It's the mindset switch has been the most difficult thing. It's like, I can do this, and finding that I am worthy enough to do this. I knew this is my path. My path is not to work for someone else. It's never has been. It's always been to work, but for myself or with other people. And overcoming the fact that I am worthy enough, I'm smart enough, I have all the talent already inside of me that I can do this, was the biggest challenge for me. Now the biggest challenge is getting everything done, because I'm still working on a one-man show. I do have, outsource some things, but I'm still doing the majority of everything. And then trying to scale into, more speaking engagements, doing more my own podcast, doing other things too. That's probably my biggest struggle right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And so when let's look at the opposite side, right? Because I don't like to focus on struggles without balancing it out with something positive. What do you think you found has been and I'd be interested to know actually because of your diverse background if you find that this has been the same thing all the way through or if it's something unique and new to the entity that you have right now, which is what's the thing that you've loved the most? Like what's the biggest benefit? What's the biggest success? What's the thing you've loved the most about having your own business?
Most people think it's freedom. So I do have freedom. I have designed my life to have a freedom lifestyle. We can travel when we want to do. We do whatever we want. That's what I learned. But going back, it's the connections I met with people,
Mm,
the stories that I've heard, even through real estate, through event people, connecting with my clients, connecting with my contractors. I'm still, I'm still friends with some of my independent contractors that work for me.
yeah.
Really just getting to know the people has been amazing. And then the lessons and the lesson behind everything that I've learned that I'm a very creative person and I have to have that and have to have that creativity in me. I'm not a hustle. I'm not a go get and I was, as I've been trained to do with like outside sales, is like go, 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 hustle, hustle, hustle. That's not me, who I am internally. So when I start down that path, I know to stop myself immediately and go inside and for guidance.
Which is funny because if I were to give a word for how you've built your career, I would absolutely say hustle was at the foundation of that because I mean your ability to sort of like pick up, start something new, pivot, start something else new, and continue to build there. I would have it's interesting to hear you say that because I definitely would have thought hustle would have been sort of like one of those like red threads for you.
I want to clarify by hustle. I mean hustling with no intention.
Oh,
Hustling
sure.
because I need to do more and more and more and make it happen instead of laying back and receiving in what is and listening instead of being like, I know the answer to that. I'm just going to do what so and so and so told me to do because this is what I need to do instead of being like, I know. And I'm so good about, I'm so good about putting the boundaries up now. And like, that's great information. I will consider it. And then I just move on and listen to whatever's being told to me.
Yeah. Well, so what's I think another thing that people don't necessarily look at when they have their own business is sort of like the unexpected pieces, right? The surprises that come up. Can you identify like one surprise that you've had during your 20-year career?
Oh man. You can't please everybody.
Right.
That's the biggest thing. I thought I was very personable. I was a people pleaser. I'm a reformed people pleaser, a reforming people pleaser. You can't make everybody happy. And not every single client person is meant to be your client. You don't want to work with everyone. I'm very picky about who I work with now. They have to go through almost, I don't say an interview process with me, but they have to be ready to do the work.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna waste their money and I'm not gonna waste their time and they're not gonna waste mine. It's going to have to be a good fit. I think that was the biggest surprise was I can help everybody. Everybody who wants to buy a house, and even the real estate. I can help everybody who wants to do an event. Everybody needs social media. They do, but maybe you're not the right person for it.
Yeah.
And
It's
that can
really
hurt in
interesting.
the heart, but
Yeah, 100%. It's of course the my company does branding and audience finding the right audience is core, right? It's like the core root of whether or not you're going to be successful, whether or not you're going to be able to sell anything, sell any product, build a business, etc. And it's a funny thing. I always talk about it as like related to shoes. So it's like everybody wants to buy or thinks that their client is like what I would equate to like the designer shoes that are on sale.
Mhm.
Okay, they catch your eye, they're a good deal, they like are begging to come home with you. And then what happens is you end up buying a pair that doesn't quite fit right because they've done all these other shiny things, right? And so then what happens is maybe you wear them once, maybe you wear them twice, but it's going to like have that rub that is going to cause that friction. And that's
Yeah.
exactly, it's exactly right. It's the biggest surprises when you're chasing after the wrong people. When you finally find the right person, how much easier it is than chasing the wrong people.
Yeah. And don't be afraid to sever those. business relationships or client connections on a graceful level. Don't ever want to burn bridges and be, never want to do that. But it's okay, because once you do that, so many more doors are going to open up. But you also have to be in that mindset and really truly believe that. I admit, I've had clients that would drain my entire weeks and weeks and weeks of time. And then when I let them go, it's amazing how many I just noticed, I have all these other people who are ready for my products, my service. They're ready to buy whatever, they're ready for me to serve and help them.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So, Alicia, as we get close to the end of our time, I have a couple final questions for you.
Okay.
One of those is, because, of course, Spark Starter, the whole point of us being here is to help, inspire women to create and build big businesses. And so a question that I ask all of my guests is, what is one word or short phrase that you would give to another woman looking to start or build her business?
Believe in yourself.
Mm.
If you don't believe in yourself, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's such a good phrase. I love it. I love it so much. The second question that I have for you is, you do all of this coaching and intuitive work and mentorship. If someone it really resonated with you today and wants to get in touch with you, what is the best way for them to find you?
You can go to my website. It's Alicia Farricielli, my first name, last name.com. Reach out to me on social media. You can find me. I usually use my personal page. It's like a digital whatever creator page for most of my content and stuff. So you can find me, friend me, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. And of course, I have my podcast, Intuitive Revolution. So if you want some more content based on kind of the woo-woo-ness of whatever I'm talking about, then definitely, yeah.
Absolutely. I totally forgot to mention your podcast today, so I'm so glad that you brought that up. And then the final thing would be, is there anything else that you want to share that we didn't touch on today?
No, I'm here to I'm fired a mission to empower particularly women because of all the struggles we go through, to just trust yourself and learn that process of just trusting yourself and letting that guide you, because we're all given the gift of intuitive, and do the work behind it to start healing anything that's limiting you from going after dreams, because we're all worthy and we all deserve that. If you have a dream inside of you, it's because it was given to you. It's not because it's just something that you're not worthy of. It was given to you to serve as a purpose. We're all here to serve other people. And so in order to do that, we have to trust ourselves.
Gosh, what a great way to end the podcast for today. That is a beautiful sentiment. I couldn't agree with you more. And thank you so much, Alicia, for sharing all of your insights and wonderful background with all of us. Thanks to all of our listeners who have joined us today on the Spark Starter podcast. It's been my absolute pleasure bringing you the uniquely inspiring stories that ignite female entrepreneurs into action. I've been your host, Elizabeth Goede, and on behalf of all the awe-inspiring women entrepreneurs out there, I encourage you to not only dream big, but to ignite those dreams into action. Remember, every spark can lead to an extraordinary fire. So keep the spark alive for today, tomorrow, and the vibrant future beyond. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast to never miss a spark. Until next time, stay ignited. And for all of our listeners who have joined us live today, I wanted to give the opportunity for you to drop into the chat and let us know any questions that you might have for Alicia. I know that it's been really great getting to know you, Alicia, and your background. I loved sort of hearing the story about, I think a lot of times we think that it's sort of like sunshine and rainbows, right? We know we aren't meant to be within necessarily the corporate or sort of like a standard 9-to-5 job, but when we take that first step, it may or may not be the right first step. And what I loved was hearing from you sort of the I don't want to say trials and tribulations, but a little bit I do, on you sort of finding what that right fit was. And it was really interesting to watch even how your facial expression changed. It's sort of like almost like painful when I made you go back and relive the things that didn't work as well. And then you got to like the thing that you do now, and it was like you just completely glowed, right? Your face just started glowing, which was amazing to watch.
Yeah, I love it, and I say that they were not mistakes. I don't ever I've learned to say nothing's ever a mistake. They were such learning lessons that got me up to now. If I hadn't gone through all of that, there's no way I'd be doing what I'm doing now on a
Yeah,
truly
absolutely.
authentic level. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Well, it doesn't look like anyone dropped any questions in the chat. So I again want to just thank everyone for joining us today. And I'll be back later today with a couple more guests that will be sharing their insights.
So thank you so much.
Thank you